Welcome to this screencast. In this screencast, we're going to cover the topic of course reports. Course reports are a fantastic way to view what students are doing and kind of keep up with them. So as often as you can utilize them, you can really get an understanding of where students are spending most of their time and inside your course, and which areas they're clicking on often, which areas they aren't. Can kind of give you a glimpse into what's user friendly and what isn't, as well as where students put an emphasis on and where they don't. You get your course reports by accessing the administration block. So I'm going to move your screen over to the left here, and then we are going to scroll down to the administration block. And it's under this icon here called reports. Move your screen up a little bit. Now when the screen refreshes, we're going to have to kind of look at this in parts. You're going to be giving a few choices here at the beginning, and these are kind of just some basic choices and pretty self-explanatory. For one, here is the course name that you're currently in or using. You'll have it as a drop-down menu, so if you're teaching multiple courses, you could pick another course technically if you wanted to. Down here with activities, you're going to be able to see, and these are all the activities that you would have loaded in your course, to where you could pick a specific activity. So if I wanted to see how many times people click turn editing on, or how many times people access the news form, I could. If I scroll over here to the right hand side, all participants, this is, leaving it at all participants would show you every user in your course, or you could pick out an individual person. The date, you could use, obviously this is today's date, or you could go back and pick, and the dates will typically be set by the duration of your course. So if you have, for instance, an 8-week course and you've set it for 8 weeks, and the time is set to run between that time frame, if you went back to view this after the course ended, it would obviously be viewable for those 8 weeks. All actions, this is the idea of how many, you can just, in simple terms, how many views there were, how many ads or updates or deletes or any all changes that were made. A lot of times this could be something more for you as the instructor to view, because students aren't going to be deleting things. So there's some aspects there as well. Display on the page, you can view it in the screen, it'll refresh and show it to you. You can see it in text format. You could download it through an Excel format. However you would like to keep it. It may be something you just want to view, or maybe something you want to save. And then obviously, however you determine what your settings are, you would then click get these logs. I'm not going to do that right now necessarily, because I want to show you this other feature as well. Underneath this, okay, in the section titled or watch current activity, Moodle has a nice feature where it can kind of give you a few more choices of what to look at immediately. One is this option right here where live logs from the past hour, and it literally will show you who's been in it and what they've been doing from the past hour, or give you options to choose from. And for instance, if I click on that, you notice you get a time, you get an IP address, so you know what server they're entered from, you get the name of the person, you get the actions, so where they've been, what they've done. And if I come over here to the right, this information obviously is the course name, or what that person was doing in there. In this instance, they were in there as a student looking at the activities. Coming back to this initial screen, back under watch current activity, you have an activity report. Now keep in mind, activities are literally, when it says activity, it's talking about the activities you've created in your course. Okay, so by clicking on activity report, you'll get a full list of all the activities in your course. Notice your activity, here's a list of them all. And then over on the right hand side, you get last access. And so you're getting a view of what was last accessed when. And it's not student or user specific, it's just a complete overview. If I bring this back over to the left and scroll down, you can see it contains all the activities broken up. In my instance here, I have topics, but you would have typically the weeks, and so it has broken down for each week. Really a wonderful, helpful feature to kind of get an overview of what the course is doing. Another one is participation report, and this one's a little bit different. There's a few ways to look at it, and I'll give you a few more options. Bring you back up here to the left. Obviously you have the activity module, so by the drop-down menu you're able to choose what activity it is that you want to look at. So let's look at news forum activity. Alright, if we bring this screen over here, look back. So here we're going to choose 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, up to weeks and months. I'm going to choose to go back 3 days. Let's bring over here. Now, do I want to just see the administrator? Do I just want to see the course creator? Do I just want to see student or guest? Let's look at student use. And then over here we have the option of show actions. We can see all actions, we can just see what they viewed, we can just see what they post. Let's stay with all actions. If I bring it back over, we're going to click go. Now when the screen refreshes, what this shows is just one person that has accessed in the last 3 days, and their actions are none. They haven't done anything other than just be in the site and log into it, which tells me that they probably just viewed it and looked over it quickly. Okay, and so if I wanted to, I could select and send a message from here. Right, if I click this box, okay, which you could select all, deselect all, select all, no, whichever you want to do. And if I was to click add send message, I could send a message to him through Moodle that he would then have the next time he entered his course or entered his Moodle access. Okay, so let's go back one more screen and let's look at statistics. Similar, Moodle does a wonderful job of being user friendly as far as being able to follow directions. They don't make it too terribly complicated in most cases. I will admit there are times where it's a little overwhelming with the choices. So again, courses. After courses, then we have the choice of the report type. And again, this is all activity with all roles, meaning student, administrator, instructor, creator. All activities with views and posts, just of the administrator, just of the course creator, just of the student, views all roles, post all roles. So it gives you a few options. Obviously, views are just people looking at it. Posts are obviously access to forms or are uploading documents, and activities would be just that. Whatever activities you've created, people have participated in them, whether it be a quiz or a lesson, a wiki, something along those lines. And if we bring it over here, you have your time period. I can look 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Let's do 2 weeks and click on view. Now when the screen refreshes, it's going to give you a nice fancy chart. And I'm not going to be able to show you all the chart in your screen, but you can kind of get an idea. And so you get a chart here with a little bit of a visual line showing where activity is peaked, where it's dropped. If I scroll down a little bit, you can see the key, so it's color coordinated for what role was doing what. So obviously green would be student, so you could see up here where someone as a student where it peaked and then it declined as far as usage on that day, between this day and this day. If we scroll down a little further, it gives you some more information. Because I asked for 2 weeks, so it breaks it down day by day over the 2 weeks as far as student, course creator, administrator, all that were involved, and then the course logs. If you were to click on the course logs, let's go ahead and click on it. It gives you a much more detailed screen as far as the IP address again, the person's name, the resource, or the action that they were taking, and then what it is they were looking at that moment in time. So it's I think very helpful. I jump back to the previous screen. Let's go back one more, and let's go back one more to reports. So this is kind of back to the beginning of where we were. So Moodle does a really nice, user-friendly job of allowing you to see what is going on in your course. And again, from the standpoint of instructing, being able to use this and access this, it's useful for tracking activity in a class. Okay, if a student doesn't spend time with material, you begin to have an understanding of why they may have questions about something or difficulty with something, because they haven't been in it, they haven't been using it. So it's a nice way to track activity. It's a nice way to understand what's being utilized and what isn't, particularly as you develop your courses and have more autonomy over how it's structured, so you can get a feel for what's useful for a student and what isn't.